UEFA have just confirmed the groups for this year's Women's Euros, and there are some absolute crackers in there. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the key rivalries that are going to be on show in this summer's tournament. So without further ado, let's get into it. Denmark versus Germany. Denmark and Germany are two of the most successful sides in the history of the Women's Euros, with Germany winning it 8 times and Denmark twice. The two nations also have a fierce rivalry on the men's side, which only adds to this fixture's importance. They've been drawn in Group B alongside Austria and Finland, and it's hard to look past Germany to top this group. However, Denmark will be quietly confident going into this tournament. They were quarterfinalists last time out and are improving all the time under their new manager, while Germany, despite being the favorites, haven't won a trophy since 2007. If they can't get the job done this year, then there will be even more pressure on them to deliver in 2025 when they're hosting the tournament. This will be the 31st meeting between these two teams. And I think it's fair to say that both of their matches against each other could be pivotal in deciding who tops this group. France vs Brazil. Now, technically, this isn't a rivalry. These two nations have only ever met 4 times before, with France winning 3 and Brazil 1. However, these two teams did meet in the group stage in the 2019 World Cup, with the French coming out on top in a 2-1 victory. And with the Olympics being held in France in 2024, I'm sure this matchup will still be fresh in the minds of both sets of players. France has struggled in recent tournaments, exiting the last 2 major tournaments in the quarterfinals. Can't be complacent here, though. Brazil are no slouches and are always dangerous going forward. And if France aren't at their best, then they could be in for a shock defeat. There's absolutely no doubt about it. This is arguably the most mouth-watering matchup in the whole of the women's game right now, and I cannot wait for this one. Spain versus England. Spain and England are arguably the 2 best teams in the world right now, and their clash in the group stage is undoubtedly the standout fixture of this tournament. England's Lionesses will be looking to retain the crown that they won back in 2022, while Spain will be looking to go one step further than they did in 2023, where they made it to the final but lost to England. Now, England have never won the Women's Euros before, so they'll want to make sure they hold on to the title they won 2 years ago. Spain, however, have a great chance here to finally get over the line after coming so close last year. It really is an exciting time for women's football, and this matchup is a perfect example of that. Both of these teams play attractive, attacking football, and there's not much to choose between them. It's also worth noting that this will be the first time that La Roja and the Lionesses have faced off in a tournament proper since that final last year. Could we see a repeat of that in this year's competition? You certainly wouldn't bet against it. The Netherlands versus Sweden. The Netherlands and Sweden are 2 traditional powers in the women's game. They've each won the European Championship 3 times. But their rivalry goes beyond just football. These two nations have very similar cultures and regularly battle it out in many different sports. In the most recent edition of the Women's Euros, the Swedes got the better of their rivals, beating them 1-0 in the semifinals, only to lose on penalties to England in the final. With the Dutch coming out on top in the group and the Swedes finishing second, this will be the first time that they face each other since that semi-final. It's always difficult to predict results in encounters between these two sides, but with the Dutch boasting the likes of Lieke Martens and Jill Roord, while the Swedish side have the prolific striker Stina Blackstenius, this tie will definitely be one to keep an eye on. Norway versus Switzerland? Norway and Switzerland might not be the biggest rivals on this list, but their most recent encounter was a classic. Back in October of last year, these two sides met in a World Cup qualifier playoff. The Norwegians came out on top in extra time, winning 2-1. However, the Swiss almost pulled off a stunning comeback from 3-0 down to beat the Finns in the previous round, and they shouldn't be underestimated here. The Swiss also have a very talented squad, including the likes of Anna-Maria Krunogorsevic and Geraldine Reuteler. And they will fancy their chances of getting a result against a Norwegian side that relies heavily on the prolific Ada Hegerberg. A lot will depend on the fitness of Hegerberg, who was injured for a lot of the season through injury. If she's fit and firing, then the Swiss will have a tough task on their hands. Germany vs Norway. This is another one that has all the makings of a classic. The Germans and the Norwegians have had some epic battles in the past, with their most famous encounter coming in the group stages of the 2003 FIFA Women's World Cup. The match finished 1-1 after extra time, with the Germans progressing on penalties. Since then, the roles have somewhat reversed, with Germany becoming a dominant force in women's football in Europe and Norway struggling to qualify for major tournaments. However, this hasn't deterred the Norwegians from getting a result against their rivals in recent times. In fact, in their last encounter, a friendly in 2021, the underdog Norwegians ran out 3-2 winners. Germany will be looking to put that right here in the group stage, and I think this match could be a pivotal one in deciding who tops the group. Italy versus Belgium. Italy and Belgium are two teams that have really impressed me in recent times. Italy have impressed me with their defensive solidity, conceding only 1 goal in qualifying. And Belgium have impressed me with their attacking prowess, scoring 45 goals in qualifying. What I think will be a low-scoring affair. These two sides met in a friendly back in 2022, with the Italians coming out on top with a 2-1 victory. I think this will be a tight affair, but I think Belgium's attacking threats will prove too much for the Italians. Iceland versus Spain. Iceland and Spain are two of the most informed teams in the world right now. The Icelanders are currently on a 16-match unbeaten run and have qualified for the last 4 major tournaments, while Spain, of course, are the defending champions and have reached the final of the last 2 major tournaments. They've never beaten Iceland in their 3 previous meetings. But with the form that they're both in, I think this could be a classic. Sweden versus Denmark. As mentioned earlier, Sweden and Denmark are two teams that always battle it out in multiple sports. Their most recent encounter came in a friendly back in 2022, which finished 1-1. However, the Danes got the better of the Swedes in the group stage of the Tokyo Olympics, winning 3-0. With both of these teams looking to make a deep run in this tournament, this could be a crucial match in deciding who finishes top of the group. So there we have it, 10 Women's Euro 2025 showdown matches that you won't want to miss. Who do you think will win this year's tournament? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.